What's up, everyone? It's Tyrell Belanger of the One at the Line podcast, back at it with another episode. And some interesting stuff's happened in the NBA world since the last episode. So let's get right into it. I'm not sure if this news broke before last episode. I'm not sure if I talked about it or not. But I'm just going to briefly go over it. Steve Nash has gotten the coaching job of the Brooklyn Nets. And Jacques Vaughn is going to be his head assistant, which is good for them because Jacques Vaughn did a pretty good job at coaching them in the bubble. So I'm glad that he gets to stay. And Steve Nash worked under Steve Kerr, so he has a little bit of experience. It's a very similar situation between the two, both rookie coaches coming into a contending team. So I guess we're just going to have to see how it goes, how it plays out. But I'm optimistic. Steve Nash's play style just seems like something that could translate into a successful coaching career. Next thing that happened is Billy Donovan and the OKC Thunder have mutually decided to part ways. So it's not a firing, but Billy Donovan is gone. And I think this is just a sign that OKC is going to start this rebuild. They're just going to hit the hard reset. They got some experience with these young guys that they have with Shea and Darius Baisley and Lou Dort, and they got some playoff experience against a pretty good team. And now I think they're going to just hit the hard reset. I think they're going to do something along the lines of what we thought they were going to do last season when they originally traded Russell Westbrook and traded Paul George. Chris Paul posted a video pretty much thanking the city of OKC, and it just looked like something where maybe he had a conversation with the general manager, and they've decided that he's probably going to get traded in the offseason, so he's just saying his thank you for just believing him throughout the season as he really showed his value. I don't think he's a negative asset anymore. That he is overpaid. He is definitely not worth $44 million at his age. But before, I think to get rid of Chris Paul, you would have had to attach a first-round pick or like a young asset to move his contract. But now I think you can get some value out of him. Some trades that have been circulating is the one where he goes to the Milwaukee Bucks, maybe getting someone like DJ Wilson or Dante DiVincenzo and maybe a first-round pick, probably Eric Bledsoe as well, or maybe New York and you take some of their young talent to take some flyers on, like Kevin Knox and Frank Ntilikina. And yeah, so I think wherever Chris Paul goes, he can definitely contribute to pretty much doing what he did this season, just mentoring some young guys, getting them, just being a good veteran. I think they will also end up moving on from Danilo Gallinari, as he is going to be an expiring contract next season. And I don't think the Thunder want to pay him that money, as he is getting up there in age a little bit. So I think they're probably going to look to move him. And I can see some teams needing that, like, score, like maybe Portland. I could see Portland being a good fit for him. They have some assets that they could trade. They have some expiring deals. And Steven Adams, he is pretty young, so I don't know if they're going to want to move him, but they could end up keeping him, honestly. I could see a situation where he either gets moved or he stays in OKC, honestly. I think they are definitely just going to try to move on with their future with Shea, Lou Dort, Darius Baisley, and whoever they get in these next coming years throughout their draft picks, since they have them all stashed up from the Rockets trade and the Clippers trade. But yeah, OKC is looking like they're going into a hard rebuild, and we're just going to see where it goes from there, honestly. Now, let's talk some playoffs. We had game 2 and 3 of Lakers versus Houston. Game 2, the Lakers came out, and AD and LeBron looked a lot more aggressive. They came out with the win. In Game 3, LeBron just went on a monster performance, and Russell Westbrook, he played pretty bad in Game 2, and in Game 3, he had a bounce-back game, but the supporting cast of Houston, besides maybe Jeff Green, was the only man that stepped up off the bench for them, and he pretty much played all the bench minutes. Austin Rivers and Ben McLemore each got like 10 minutes, but they didn't have any points, or they didn't really contribute at all. But LeBron James, he had 36 in Game 3. AD has been playing very well lately, ever since that first round matchup where he struggled a little bit. But I like to see AD being more aggressive against PJ Tucker, as in Game 1 he looked a little bit scared to post him up and use his body. But these past couple games, he's taken a little bit more pride and just confidence in his size against PJ Tucker, and he's, as expected, been dominating them. The series obviously isn't over. Rockets are a very good team, but the Lakers have looked pretty good. They have momentum going into Game 4, and we're just going to see where that series goes, but so far it's been pretty back and forth. The other matchup in the West, we have Denver and the Clippers. Denver ended up tying the series 1-1, and then in Game 3, Paul George and Kawhi bounced back from a very rough game from Kawhi Leonard in Game 2 that led to Denver taking the win. And in Game 3, Clippers walked away with the W there, as Kawhi and Paul George both played pretty well. Paul George has been playing really good ever since everyone was getting on him in that first round matchup with the whole like George Paul and playoff P and all this stuff, but he's really just shut out all the haters, and he has been playing really well for the Clippers team. And if they want to go far and try to beat a team like the Lakers in the East or Western Conference Finals, Paul George is going to have to be at his best. The problem with them is I don't like their paint. I don't like their big man defense at all, and I'm not confident. Montrezl Harrell and Zubats have both just looked lost trying to guard Jokic. Jokic has been killing them from the three-point line, especially in Game 3. And like they're just going under on screens and kind of just leaving him open, and he's been making them pay for it. And that just isn't a good sign for if they do end up facing the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals, and they have to guard Anthony Davis. Is it gonna be much the same? And then you also have to guard LeBron James. So are your bigs really going to have to step up on Anthony Davis and then leave LeBron James to go to the rim? I'm not sure. Their wing defenders are really good with Kawhi and Paul George, and Marcus Morris is pretty good, Patrick Beverley. So I think that might be able to carry them to an extent. But in the long run, I don't think your outside perimeter defenders are going to help the situation when you guys go against dominant big men like Anthony Davis or Nikola Jokic. Jamal Murray's legs just don't look like they're under him, really. I think he is very tired, especially after that first round matchup. He had to exert a lot of energy just to get past that first round, and his battles with Donovan Mitchell, it just looks like it's taking a toll on him, really. He's been struggling pretty bad over the last couple games, but luckily Jokic has really kept them in it. A thing about the Nuggets that has been kind of frustrating as a fan is instead of Jamal Murray or Nikola Jokic taking those clutch shots, it's been a lot of Jeremy Grant taking those shots. And Jeremy Grant is don't get me wrong, I really like his game. He's a great defender. He can stretch the floor. He's athletic. But I don't think he's that guy that's going to come out in the fourth quarter and take a bunch of clutch threes. I don't think he's that guy. and I don't think he can succeed very much as being expected to be that guy. So I think Jamal Murray and Jokic just have to step up in the clutch a little bit more and try to exploit the Clippers' big man defense and just try to keep getting going from the three-point line. And I think they can maybe take another game or two, honestly, if they can play up to par. Now move on to the Eastern Conference. As last night, Miami closed out the series in 5 games. Giannis did not play in Game 5. And now all the Giannis trade rumors and him possibly leaving next season are going to start. I think all next season you're going to hear about maybe them moving Giannis. I think you're going to hear a lot of him possibly leaving to teams like Golden State, Toronto, Miami. Honestly, I don't know what Giannis is going to do. I would not expect a trade. I think that's probably the least likely option. He's already came out and said that he is not going to request a trade. And I don't think he's going to sign an extension in Milwaukee this offseason either, or even next season. I don't think he will do that. I think he's going to definitely enter free agency and play the field like he probably should do, and just field a bunch of offers and, pretty much have everyone fighting for him, and just seeing his value out there, seeing what situation is best for him. And I can easily see him staying with Milwaukee after maybe a couple days or weeks in free agency, just playing the field a little bit, just feeling it out, kind of like what Kawhi Leonard did or Kevin Durant. But I could see him going really anywhere, really. I think he is a player that can go to a lot of teams and thrive. Toronto is a good one. Miami, of course. Golden State is probably the most obvious fit for him. And he could also stay in Milwaukee if they make some sort of drastic trade. I think what Milwaukee needs is a guy that they can go to in the fourth quarter, down by 6 with 3 minutes to go, and say, go out there and get us some buckets and give us the lead. Chris Middleton is a really good all-star, and he shot very well, and he's played very well in the last few games of this series. But I just don't think he's that guy, honestly. I don't think he's a guy that you can tell to go get you a clutch bucket in the fourth quarter. He's a great shooter. He's a great defender. And I think he complements Giannis really well. But I think you need to go out there and get yourself someone like a Chris Paul or a CJ McCollum. Just someone like that. I think Eric Bledsoe definitely needs to be moved sometime. He's just not, I can't rely on Eric Bledsoe in the playoffs. He has put up terrible numbers, has been just terrible in general ever since he got to Milwaukee. Just hasn't been very good in the playoffs. He's a great regular season player, but once you get to the playoffs, he's just kind of just out there, not really doing much. And that just really showed this series. But you gotta give credit to Miami. They played very well this whole series. Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero were pretty much the stars of the series. Bam Adebayo played great defense on Giannis for the time that Giannis was on the floor. And their shooters, like Duncan Robinson, Iguodala, Jay Crowder, I really liked what I saw from their whole team, really. But especially Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler. Tyler Hero coming in as a rookie. He's been taking a lot of clutch shots, and he's been making them. He's been making the right plays. And I liked him coming out of the draft. I didn't know how I felt when he got selected as early as he did, as he was projected to be a late first round, early second round pick, and he was picked 14th overall. And that was kind of the thing with a lot of people. A lot of people liked him coming out of college as a shooter. But the question was, should he have been selected that early? And he's really came out and been that third best rookie this year. Of course, John Zion put up superstar numbers this year. And Tyler Hero kind of took a back seat, but in the playoffs, he's the only one there, and he's been playing really good, and I think he's played like the second or third best player on that Miami team so far. Now we move on to my Boston Celtics, Toronto Raptors. Celtics go up 3-2, and they're set to play again tonight in a few hours. While you're watching this, it'll probably be right after the game or right before the game. But yeah, the Celtics go up 3-2 after a monster performance. Their defense really just locked in from the start of Game 4. And Toronto really just couldn't get their offense going. A lot of their shots were open, but the Celtics, they weren't really falling. But the Celtics played just great defense, and their offense was a lot of transition baskets, a lot of baskets off turnovers, a lot of just taking it to the rim, free throw line. It was just, the Celtics didn't really shoot well from the three-point line, but everywhere else they played great. Kemba Walker had a bounce-back game, Jaylen Brown as well. But the thing is, Toronto lost, and Jason Tatum shot 5 for 15. And Jason Tatum is the best player in this series so far. He's been playing like it. And you can't lose that badly, and he shoots 5 for 15. I think that's what makes the Celtics so dangerous here, is you can have a game where Jason Tatum shoots 5 for 15, and you still end up winning by 20-plus points. Just because you have Kemba Walker and Jaylen Brown, and you had Gordon Hayward, but now you don't. But Marcus Smart has also stepped up big time, and I also liked what I saw from our bench in that game, especially Brad Wanamaker. I will admit I'm not really a big fan of him, but he did come out and he played very well, played great defense, knocked down some open shots, and just came in after the starters and maintained that lead. Robert Williams kind of got exposed this game. He was just making a lot of rookie moves, like he was getting some weird turnovers, and whenever Robert Williams was in, his man would go set the pick, and they would just play with him in the pick and roll, and he really couldn't do anything about it. But Daniel Tice also played well, so Robert Williams kind of took a back seat. Cantor had some minutes late in that game after it was pretty much a blowout. But yeah, the Celtics go up 3-2, and Game 6 should be very interesting. I'm not sure what happens in this Game 6. I think it will be a very good game, but we're just going to have to wait and see, honestly. And by the time I see you next, the Celtics-Raptors series will be decided, and I believe, the Celtics-Raptors series will be decided, maybe the Clippers and Nuggets series. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's episode of the One at the Line podcast. Next episode, I'm going to try to I have something planned. I'm not sure if it will work out or not, but I'm going to try my best to get it prepared and get it ready. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at One at the Line Pod. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.